Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukakaroti Vachalam Pangoram Gayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Nitinamine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurakata Damadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. If you could also kindly make me co-host so I can, yes, thank you. And you can share the screen for the rest. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, text 30 and 31 of chapter 17. Am I right?
Yes.
7, sorry, 7 chapter. This is a very interesting verse because it's very connected with certain aspects of African culture. And it'll be a different class than your normal Srimad Bhagavatam class. So fasten your seat belts and be ready for a mystical journey. Will you be sharing the verse, Radhe Prabhu?
Do you want me to share? You get to share the screen.
I can share, but whatever you prefer.
You may share since you're going to be speaking from here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, 30 is here on my screen. Hope you can see it.
Yeah.
Yajnasya cha vitanani yogasya cha pata prabho naishkarmasya cha sankhyasya tantram va bhagavat smritam. Please also describe the expansions of different sacrifices and the paths of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The word tantram is significant here. Sometimes tantram is misunderstood to be black spiritual science, materialistic persons engaged in sense gratification. But here, tantram means the science of devotional service compiled by Srila Narada Muni. One can take advantage of such regulative explanations of the path of devotional service and make progressive advancement in the devotional service of the Lord. Sankhya philosophy is the basic principle of acquiring knowledge, as will be explained by the sage Maitreya. The Sankhya philosophy, enunciated by Kapila Deva, the son of Devahuti, is the real source of knowledge about the supreme truth. Knowledge not based on the Sankhya philosophy is mental speculation and can yield no tangible profit. Okay. I don't know why you have both these verses together, but because there is purport, but fine. Pashandapata vaishamyam pratiloma niveshanam jivasya yascha yavatir gunakarmajaha. Translation. Please also describe the imperfections and contradictions of the faithless atheists, the situation of crossbreeding, and the movements of the living entities in various species of life according to their particular modes of nature and work. The purport. The combination of living entities in different modes of material nature is called crossbreeding. The faithless atheists do not believe in the existence of God, and thus their paths of philosophy are contradictory. Atheistic philosophies never agree with one another. Different species of life are evidence of varieties of mixtures of the modes of material nature. So yeah, these two verses are quite different from each other. We could give like a whole class on each of the verses, but I'll try to, mostly we'll focus on 30, but 31 also I will touch upon. So here, there are some key words. Yagyasya, of sacrifices. And tantram, tantram. Here, in this verse, tantram, the actual original meaning is the path of devotional service. Now, I told you to fasten your seatbelt. So now I just made like a few slides to, here it is. Let me see if I can share my screen properly. All right. So dangers of false spiritual paths. Okay. So before I, before you read the screen, I should actually tell you this. So today we are diving deep into a jungle, which many of us, especially many of you, grew up near, where juju, mysticism, and spirituality are often blurred. You may call it juju, but in South India or in North India, we have a different name. But basically, the black arts, the black magic. But with the torchlight of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam speaks about everything: talk romance, violence, black magic, juju, whatever you say, everything is covered in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam gives us the ability to distinguish reality from illusion. So we will get the power of knowledge to separate these two, to see what is a pure path, what is not the pure path. So spoiler alert, not all power is divine. Not all rituals are safe. If you still didn't figure that out after coming to Krishna consciousness and being in the movement for so many years. But here, what's the problem? Like, let's see, the energy of juju, right? Through power of juju, is it power? Or is it just juju? So how to understand tantra, karma, and spiritual clarity through these two verses of Bhagavatam. So this basic is that energy of juju is used, it's tamasic energy. It uses tamasic forces that invite ignorance and fear. And then it gives false promises. It says you'll get control, you'll get healing, you'll get love, but actually it's a trap, it's a bondage. And the karmic consequences are hell, just hell. It opens doors to dark forces and heavy karmic debt. Right now it's night in India, so it's not the best time to talk about ghosts and all this stuff. But because this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking of it, and I do have some knowledge, training, exposure in my professional life also, I studied these things about how, especially I studied white magic, how to remove and whatever. That's my professional line. But to understand in terms of the souls. So one of the ways the black magic is done is they deal with souls who are total, utter failure, evil people who did horrible crimes, they committed murder, or they committed suicide. These souls are waiting to be somehow or another used. So these people who use dark arts, they invite those souls and then they engage those souls in opposite of whatever is devotional service. So the opposite of devotional service, they use it in a very, very low class, karmically entangling wrong energy. So all this is real. No, and the second verse is talking about the atheistic people. They may not believe and they may have a different opinion, but Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about don't misunderstand, don't mistake tantra to be this. Because in India, tantra, especially when you use the word tantra, it's used for sexual tantra. So, there's a sexual tantra is very, very common. A lot of people misuse it. In the name of tantra, they woo people, they abuse people, they give false promises, and there's a lot of nonsense that goes on. So the common misconception is to think that Tantra means juju or dark arts. But the true meaning If you go to the original, it's a sacred science. Tantra, literally, basically, Tantra means the methodology, how you perform things. That's the literal meaning. So the belief system is to think like, oh, this means all these, whatever the procedures they do in the black arts. But here it is very clear that Narad Muni, he focuses on what's the purpose of that tantra, of the process of devotional service is liberation, is love of Krishna. So tantra is not just a scary word, but it's also like money in the wrong hands, or it's like a knife in the wrong hands, becomes very dangerous. And real tantra, okay, real in its real form, it uplifts people, it liberates people. And the other side of it, imagine Narad Muni, I'm thinking of Tantra in the way that, oh, there's this chicken with one leg standing. That's like the whole dark side of understanding it. So Bhakti Tantra is not about how to get your ex back or how to make quick money. Not at all, right? So sometimes we get mixed up when we look at, oh, people are doing these things. This is also spirituality. We think Juju is also spirituality. And then we get into philosophies that deny God, that actually is dealing with dark, evil forces. And then we are mixing the Shastra we are mixing tradition and Shastra without understanding the proper Guru Sadhu Shastra. Shama eva hi kevalam. Srimad Bhagavatam says that whatever does not invoke our attraction and our dependence on Krishna is a useless waste of time. So just because somebody may chant mantras, even Sanskrit mantras maybe, it doesn't mean they are spiritual. We must discern. If it's leading you away from surrendering to Krishna, it is not sacred. If it's all about ego, me, my power, my control, trying to get things my way, it's not God consciousness. It's called evil consciousness. So you have to guard your consciousness like you are, imagine you go in Lagos in a market, you have to guard your wallet, right? Similarly, you have to guard your consciousness when you're appearing in anything that appears spiritual. So before we get into like how to protect ourselves, we need to a little bit see why Juju fails the soul. First of all, is driven by desire and fear. It's not founded on love. It causes spiritual distress. Then there is karmic attraction. When I say karmic attraction, it's bad karmic attraction. It binds the soul to continuous lower births and struggles. Then dangerous temporary power. Power without purification that leads you to harm, not to liberation. So it basically, you can say like Juju or this kind of black arts is like spiritual fast food. Oh, it's very tasty right now, but it's so toxic later for the person who's involved and the person who's receiving also. So real purity means letting go of that control, wanting to control, or also thinking that, oh, these things are controlling me. Both are the two sides of the same coin. So the soul's GPS, you can say, it doesn't respond to shortcuts. It only responds to sincerity. So all this, if at all we are ever experiencing some sort of black arts, black magic, if you have experienced, your family has experienced, you know that it can be very intense. But it's also the reality. There is this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, when Vyasadeva has his trance. This is one of the trance verses Sutta Goswami is quoting. Anatho pashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshaje lokasya janato vidvams chakre sattvata samhitam. So this material miseries that we experience as jivas, it's actually very superfluous. It's very, very unnecessary. But we do not know that there's a very easy solution, which is a process of bhakti yoga, the real tantra of bhakti. And because we don't know this, we keep suffering. So Vyasadeva, out of his expertise and knowledge and compassion, he came, Chakre Sattvata Samhitam. He actually gave us this Srimad Bhagavatam so that we can discern illusion from reality, so that we can stop this artificial suffering and we go towards Krishna. Now, I have another really beautiful verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, but before that, let's go into this slide. So 3 things to watch out for to end this Juju story. Juju can be disguised as spirituality. And when I say Juju, it can mean so many varieties of it, okay? It's your mentality. Juju means opposite of Krishna. And philosophy is denying God or Guru. mixing without sacred scripture guidance. And if it doesn't grow love for Krishna, then you have to question it very deeply. So tamasic energy involves, like, my astrology Guruji, he removes all this through Sudarshan and Nashinga Yagyas. So he always says there are levels of black magic. There are levels where somebody has Kritima, and then somebody else has the other level of black magic. Juju is one of the level like that. And he always says, one level, when you fear excessively, you attract negative energy. When you lust, you attract negative energy. When you're in a avengeful attitude, that also. In other words, when I am like somebody, person A, is envying and sending really negative energy towards a person B, that person is, oh, this person, I wish something for this person. They're actually accessing their spiritual powers, maybe their japa, maybe their sadhana, whatever good activities they're doing. They're accessing it, and they are using that and turning it into envy and sending it to that person. Does it affect the person? That's the second question. But does it go? Yes, it goes from the person. Person A is envying somebody. That's already black arts. Anything negative energy is sending it is there. But whether the person receives or not depends on their level of God consciousness, level of Krishna consciousness. And usually people a lot of times use these things to say, oh, we will heal you, we will control you. But actually they're controlling it through these entities, and then it creates bondage. And then you make a deal with the evil. And then you say, hey, right now you help me, and then I'll help you. And Guruji always says, people get involved in these things, they have a miserable death. Very miserable death. Even for that matter, astrology, all this kind of sacred things that looks like God conscious, but it's not spiritual. Actually, these things cause a lot of karmic burden on the individual if they do not do it in a dharmic way. So it's like a karmic web. It opens dark doors and it creates a lot of debt, confusion. It promises magic. It's like promises some good blessings, but in the end, it's burnout. And it's like borrowing from your mafia king in the somebody around you, borrowing from Ravana or Hiranyakashipu, and you say you will pay with your peace to get a little bit of something. So that is not spirituality. Spirituality does not manipulate energies. Spirituality is about surrendering our intention to Krishna, even through difficulty. Satkarmo nipuno vipra mantra tantra visharada avaishnavo guru nasyad vaishnava swapacho guru. So this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking about this concept. I'm going to stop this share now. Maybe I'll share a little later. So this verse, Satkarmo Nipuno Vipro, this mantra is speaking about mantra tantra visharada. So a guru, a real guru, he knows exactly the proper mantras. Proper tantras means the procedure with which, and they're experts. And what experts in what? No, he's expert in surrendering his soul, not just as a ritual, but as an expert devotee. He surrenders his heart, surrenders his soul. Now, one other thing I wanted to say is that this verse 31, it's speaking about the problem with the atheistic ideas. So the problem with the atheistic ideas is that there is lack of faith. They deny God, they deny devotion, they create spiritual doubt. Nothing exists. So this is spiritual dryness, where it's like they have a philosophy in life, but there is no bhakti. It's a desert. And then the problem is that there is pride, and there is debate, endless talk, and there is no true bhakti, there's no transformation. So atheistic thinkers are like useless Wi-Fi system which is on fire. It's not connecting us to Krishna. It's not connecting us to divine sources. Like no data Wi-Fi. What are you going to do with no data Wi-Fi? Zero. There's zero devotion. So they should remain very, there is a Patala Loka, the lower regions where pious atheists go. Pious atheists go. So Kapila Dev, this verse quotes Kapila Dev. He's actually very merciful. In the 8th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Dev's mercy is shown. He could have just killed all the enemies, but he didn't. He wanted to reform them. So the mood of Kapila Deva is a lot of mercy. Bhakti, that's the point of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means it melts our heart. Why? Because Krishna's heart is soft. So anything that inflates our ego, careful. And whenever we may be having troubles, it's because Krishna is humbling us. So these are like basic points, but if you have any comments or questions, then we can have a discussion. But to end my talk, common misconceptions are Tantra is not some material science. It's not just some black magic, voodoo, juju. It's actually a real, true sacred science. And it's passed down through parampara system to Narada Muni. And it's focused on liberation. It's focused on developing love for God. That's the procedure of the Tantra. Okay. Any comments, any questions?
Well, Hare Krishna, I have one quick question. Thank you for explaining these things with us. I would like to find out the sort of deity worship we do as Hare Krishna devotees. Could that be considered Tantra? If it's not Tantra, what is the name?
Yes, it's Pancharatrika. It's Pancharatrika.
Pancharatrika. So Pancharatrika is not Tantra, or it's Tantra.
So from what I did the research, it says that Tantra is basically the procedure of doing it. So if you're doing Pancharatrika Vidhi, it's the path, and then the Tantra is the way to do it, the procedures, the rituals. They're interconnected. They're interconnected.
Okay. Okay. So I know that, well, let me just say this. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak. Okay. Hare Krishna. But I wanted to find out because there are quite a number of people who may say or refute that juju is negative. Some may say that they use these forces to do something positive for someone else. I don't know whether that will be termed as juju, because like you rightly said, mostly when we hear of juju, it means somebody is doing something to hurt or harm someone. But there could also be the possibility, I'm just asking, that there could also be the possibility that somebody could use same forces to help someone in a positive way. And if that happens, will that still be considered a juju?
Now, when you say positive, you mean like maybe healing from a disease? Is that?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, healing someone from disease. Or like, for example, somebody may be suffering from black art spell from another individual. And then you go see another person who uses a similar method that the individual who initially sent the spell on that particular individual is also using a similar process to unwind the spell. So
Yeah.
in one sense, the juju was used to harm someone, and then someone else used another method to help the individual. And I don't know if both are juju. It's like we have good juju, bad juju, or juju simply means bad.
Yeah. No, it's a very good question. From what I've studied and done research and heard from Guruji, who's Vaishnava, and he only performs Vaishnava vidhi of removing, helping. Whenever we are approaching some dark entities, whether it's temporarily helping us, even it may temporarily say cure a disease, but we are still making a deal. We are going into bed with the evil. Because why? Like I said, above this, where human beings are, just above. We cannot see. That's the realm of the ghosts. And the population of that is 3 times that of humans. And they are all like waiting. They are, some of them, like I said, depending on how they died and what's their term, it's like a prison. They cannot have a body. They just cannot have a body. So some of these entities are there. And Bhutraj was actually a devotee of Mahadev and also of Krishna and Nrsimhadev. Bhutraj is the king of all those entities. But just like even among human beings, even among Ramachandra's rule or Parikshit Maharaj's rule, there were still thieves and rogues and criminals, right? So similarly, even among those entities, there are those who are waiting to experience, to be able to eat, to be able to sleep, to be able to have sex. So they have these urges. So these people are these people. I mean, they're not people because they don't have a body, but they are entities. They are souls who are stuck in a specific realm. So yes, there are souls which will be like a programmer. When a programmer takes a computer, a gaming software, when he arranges, whether it's a violent game or whether it's like a cartoon, Mario or something jumping across the bridge, that depends on the programmer, right? So similarly, the programmer is like this juju guy or somebody who does it. And then he takes all these entities and engages them. You go, you harm this person, make this person poor, make this person sick, blah, blah, blah. Then another person who may be doing a similar art may take another bunch of people and say, go. It's like a war. It's like a war, devas and demons, like that. There may be the war, but there may be demons and demons also fight. So they may send another group of entities. And depending on who is stronger in their tantra of whatever sort, tamasic tantra, because there's you can do devotional service in sattva, rajas, and tamas. So you can also do tantra in sattva, rajas, and tamas. So when they do the black arts, which is the perverted version of the tantra, whoever is more sadhaka, somebody who has chanted many, many mantras, has gained powers, mystic thing, that person, that programmer will win naturally because it's like a fight. And usually it's not just one time, oh, you just do, and it's like a whole, it's like a real war. It's like a real, they come together, they fight. So it's not easily in one day. And so usually we see, I mean, I don't know many juju experiences in my life, but I've seen other kinds. Even if the person is healed temporarily from another sort of juju, they will again get sick. They will again get sick in a few years' time. So the solution, the problem with going in that path is it is not permanent. The solution is not permanent. And then to understand the 2 levels of Krishna consciousness, one level is that there is a karma level. If it affected me, there must be some karma there that I need to go through. And if the lesson for me is to humble myself, to surrender to Krishna, to chant more, there's always option. I can go to another, whoever person, hey, you know what? These people are doing black magic against us. You please help us. If my consciousness is, what am I going to do after my black magic is released? Gajendra, in Gajendra Moksha, he says, right? Jiji Vishena Hamiha Moyakim Antar Bahishchavrita Ye Bhayonya. So Gajendra is saying, internally, I am covered by ignorance. Externally, I'm covered by elephant body. But when I get freed from the crocodile's bite, I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to come back to living as an elephant because it's so filled with ignorance. So the point is very, 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 very important point for devotees. If you become free from juju or whatever curse, what are you going to do? Are you going to serve Krishna or are you going to do sense gratification? So this question is what the Bhagavatam verse is bringing up to us. I'll actually go back to the verse because one part of the answer to your question is here. This is 30? Yes, 30. I wanted to show the 31. So, yes, there will be different sort of kritimas, juju, black magic, black arts. There are many, many paths, right? But those are not the actual path of real mystic power. But the real mystic power is it's God conscious, is Krishna conscious. Sudarshan. Sudarshan is the king of all mystic arts. If we read the 8th canto prayers by Ambrish Maharaj, you see how all of the real, that kind of busting the ghosts and busting all these negative energies, that power is Sudarshan. Sudarshan is the vision of the Lord, auspicious vision of the Lord. So he causes all the, and he never harms. Oh yeah, that's another answer to your question. How to determine if this is safe or not? If an art like Sudarshan, he was not going to kill Durvasa Muni. For those of you who know 8th canto, Durvasa Muni became angry with Ambrish Maharaj because Ambrish Maharaj took a little bit of water because he had to break the fast in time. And then, of course, Durvasa becomes very, very, very angry. Then he pulls his hair and then creates a ghost. Very good example. So this devotee, Ambrish, Durvasa, who's also devotee, but he gets very mad and he kind of uses some sort of juju of highest order. He pulls a ghost and this big Rakshasa comes and Ambrish Maharaj doesn't flinch. He just stays there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sudarshan comes, kills the demon in 1 second. 1 second. And then Sudarshan goes all the way, chasing Durvasa, left and right, and Kailas, and Brahmaloka, and Vaikunta. Durvasa Muni gets tired running around. If Sudarshan wanted to kill Durvasa like that, in a second he could have killed, but he did not kill because Sudarshan was playing with Durvasa to teach him a lesson. Similarly, any arts, any science, any of the sacred mystical sciences, if it has the power to harm somebody, then it's not safe. It's entangling. Like, for example, you said this kind of juju is good, that kind of juju is not good. Well, if it's a kind of juju which is not good, it means the whole company or the whole package is dangerous. So there are Vaishnava ways. There are, like I told you, there are Brahmanas in South India, for instance, in Melkote. They have chanted millions and millions and millions of mantras of Sudarshan, of Nrsingadev, of Varahadev, and they have got certain siddhis, the powers, to fight against this black magic, but without using the dark forces. It is only to make a person more Krishna conscious. Like if somebody loses their path, you can bring them back to God consciousness. And if you can shield yourself. But the other one, the black arts, usually what they do, somebody did black magic to you, you send it back to them. You mirror it, you send it back to them. There is, even in Vaishnava, like Ganda Berunda Narasimha, there's a particular form of Nrsingadev. He has many heads. He has a head of Garuda. He has a head of a swan. He has many, many heads. That form of Nrsingadev, he can remove ghosts, not all forms of Nrsingadev, because Nrsingadev also likes to protect ghosts, because ghosts are also entities, they're souls. So some forms of Krishna, Nrsingadev, they will not bust the ghost. They will not remove the ghost. But some specific forms, they will. But then the Brahmanas need to have a connection. They must have a sadhana. Then they can direct towards them. So my answer would be always better and safe to go Vaishnava way. Otherwise, you may get entangled in something and you don't know who you're making the deal with. And it can be very heavy price to pay. So always safe to go Vaishnava way. Always go to Sudarshan. Always go to Nrsingadev.
Well, thank you so much for the explanations. It's beautiful. Shima Bara Acharya Prabhu, please. You may unmute.
Thank you very much.
It seems your microphone is a bit far away from you, a little bit.
Okay, I'm moving.
Okay.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, I think it's a little better.
Okay.
It's still muffles, but it's a little better.
Okay. All right. So, Matai, this is said that this is your profession. I would like you to shed some light about Mohini mantra. I guess you must be knowing it. Mohini is an incarnation of love.
Yeah, Prabhuji, in fact, we cannot hear you. Someone else seconded that.
Or you can type it, Sriman Varaha Prabhu, you can type it in the chat.
I think he's driving, I believe.
Oh, okay, then we can
Yeah.
somehow we can't hear anything.
Yeah, I think it's from his headset, I believe.
Yeah.
How is it now?
Hi, Ma.
Is it okay now?
Not very clear.
Just 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, now?
Yes, much better now. Yes, good.
All right, so Mataji, I'm saying that being a professional in astrology and this stuff of things, you must be knowing about Mohini mantra. Since Mohini is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, but there is this powerful Mohini mantra used to have all kind of effects. So I just want to have your view about it, since it is Vishnu incarnation, but at the same time, it's used very much like, for like juju, So if you know something about it, can you please show some light?
Well, that is not recommended by our Parampara Sampradaya. And unless you are chanting 64 rounds and super engaged in Srimad Bhagavatam, and your spiritual master tells you you need to do this mantra, otherwise you won't go back to Godhead, there is no need to do it. Because Srimad Bhagavatam in the process of Bhakti Yoga gives us enough. See, my experience as an astrologer, there are two things I learned from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You need it only enough to be able to do devotional service. For example, what's the nature of my child? How should I train him? What should he be? What varna is he? Should I marry this person? Because, there are psychological, physiological, karmic compatibility, and it's very crucial. Except these two things, which are necessary to perform devotional service with some peace and harmony, we don't need astrology or all these things much. So the point is, what is the purpose of chanting? Because there are so many mantras. Any mantra is, as you said, it can attract certain thing, this, that. But then for what? What are you going to gain? What do you want through that? Is it bhakti? Then you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? So it's very important to see what is the purpose of chanting the Mohini mantra or any other mantra. Gayatri mantra is mystical enough for us to give us powers. Brahmanical initiation gives us, extreme powers. So that is more than Mohini mantra. So that's why we are given Gayatri mantra during our initiation process. That's the highest. The point is this: are we Rupanugas? Are we followers in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami? Rupa Goswami does not recommend it, so we don't need to do it. And then are we Prabhupadanugas? Are we followers of Srila Prabhupada? Then if you have done everything Prabhupada has said and you have so much extra time, then we can discuss about it. So the point, the path is like, the question about Mohini mantra or any other mantra is like saying, what speed can I drive this car? Yeah, we'll talk about it, but where are you going? Where are you going is more important than, hey, can devotees drive a Ferrari? Where do you want to go? Depends on that.
Yeah, can I give an example?
Yeah.
It's important. Your answer is very good. For what purpose? First, I'll give what is common here in Africa. So people want to use juju means to achieve whatever purpose, even they think spiritual purpose, but they want to go to juju people to do that. Okay, that's one. But then I'll give you an example relating to Mohini mantra. So there are two devotees And these two devotees, according to astrology, they are not compatible. And both of them know about it. They've learned about this. They know that they are not compatible. But they, for one reason or the other, they are just attracted to each other. They just feel like, well, we are devotees and we are very close and all this stuff. So they are going to forget astrology and they're going to go against that rules and they want to get engaged and married. And now they learn about Mohini Mantra. One of the effects of Mohini Mantra is that you can use it to bind whatever you want. You bind people together in love or whatever. You want to separate people. I mean, you can use it for anything, but usually they use it to bind people together also. So they think, okay, we will chant Mohini Mantra, and like that we will remain bound to each other. So in African,
You answered your own question.
let me finish.
Be bound to the incompatible person for the rest of the life.
No, Masaji, let me just finish, because in African tradition also, the juju aspect, they do this also. They use juju to bind people together. They have a whole procedure for that, like, we say tantra, they do it. So they think, oh, okay, this is Vedic, so we can do this, and then we will be married, and there will be no problem. So what do you say to that?
That's what I'm saying. If you're miserable with somebody, but you don't want to separate with them, what can I say? If you want to remain there, what can I say? So you can see the nature of material world is like that. It's, how your question is like, there's the camel, he's in the desert, he doesn't have any food, and he chews thorns. And when he's chewing thorn, it's bleeding, and the blood is very tasty. So should the camel keep chewing it or not? So you answered the question yourself. The word is bound. All these tantras and all, it only binds the person in the material way. So, I mean, two levels of answer I would give, okay? One level of answer is on a pure devotional service level, that devotional service is not dependent on any of the external things. Okay? Meaning, like, I have some friends or students, oh, my husband left me. How could this happen to me? I'm spiritual. Spirituality has nothing to do with who leaves you or whatever. Second thing is varnashrama. Yes, in varnashrama, it's good for the society when couples stay together. You have certain karmic thing. Third thing I would say is the actual answer, the glue, the binding or whatever. Sometimes the karma is so strong. Some people are extremely incompatible, but their karma to be together is very strong. Whether through the relatives, through government, through legal documents, through property issues, whatever the reason, they will stay bound. Okay. And there are other kinds of couples, they're very compatible, but their karma is not somehow working out in favor. Something happens and it separates. So the point is that Daivesha Gunamaya Mamamaya Duratyaya. So divine energy of Krishna is very strong, is very powerful, all these things of karma. So from an external point of view, we may say, oh, they're using the Mohini mantra and they're being bound. Even if they didn't use Mohini mantra, from a psychological point of view, it's called trauma bonding. When people are traumatized and they want to be together, and it's called trauma bonding. They're bound, it's a bond, but it's not a bond due to love. It's a bond due to trauma. They don't want to let go of each other like that. So there are many levels. So if it's with a purpose that I want to be bound, then it's like fine, good luck, do it. But if it is because of Krishna consciousness, maybe they don't even need that. Look, we need to stay together because our Guru Maharaj told us. I know many couples like that. They're not compatible, but Guru's instruction saves them. So let me tell you this as an astrologer. If you want to remember one thing from this class, you can remember this. Do not underestimate the power of serving a spiritual master, Guru. because this connection with the disciplic succession, the connection to Guru is everything in Vedic astrology. It's about the Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of protection. He can protect your marriage, he can protect your properties, he can protect you from evil eyes, he can protect you from black magic. Guru, Jupiter can protect you from anything. He can give you anything. He can give prosperity, growth, dynamism, expansion, children, wealth, spouse, everything. So the point is, we don't need any other mantra, whether it is Mohini, Shakini, Dakini. We only need to serve the spiritual master. We need to serve the spiritual master, and Srila Prabhupada, you get everything. Like Prabhupada once said to somebody who was saying, Srila Prabhupada, I must have done some great spiritual activity in my previous life. That's why I'm so lucky, And Prabhupada said, you did nothing in your previous life. It's just my causeless mercy upon you. So the truth is, I have seen this. Guruji has shown me when people have strong Jupiter, which means they have somehow or another dedicated their lives, served Srila Prabhupada, somehow or another. The right persons come in their life, right? People help them. They don't even have to chant Moini Mantra. Somebody else comes around, like Guruji or somebody, and they save the person from debts or divorce or whatever. And then Guruji looks at the chart and he tells me, look at this person's chart. The Jupiter is so good. They have served the Guru. And then even recently told me one client, he said, ask these people if they have invited like sadhus and they've served the Guru, they must have given charity every year to their Guru, some big amount. Check with them, because there was black magic on this family and they were getting some issues. And then Guruji just said, when there is Guru's mercy, those effects will not be as much. And I've seen the other way around also. Little envy from people. People get so sick and they lose everything. And you look into their charts in the previous life and the mentality, they don't have a tendency to serve the Guru. So, like I said, if you want to remember one thing from this whole talk, you want to escape this black magic and voodoo and juju and black tantra and negative tantra, whatever, serve the spiritual master, serve his instructions, follow the regulative principles, stick to the path, you'll be able to face the obstacles. If you don't have that, you can have, as I said, all mantras of the universe, but like Karna, you will forget it on the battlefield. You would not be able to use it in the right way. So the mantra will slip out of the hand. So the point is not having the mantra. The point is to be able to lead life in a victorious way like Arjuna. Arjuna was powerless, but he won. And Karna, he had everything. He has such powers, but he forgot the mantra in the last minute because of the curse. So, but why? Why Karna forgot? Because he offended Guru. He lied to the Guru. Anyway, that's my conclusive answer. Yes, Anadi Nidanam Prabhu seems to be very enthusiastic to ask the next question. Go ahead.
You are muted. You are not. Okay, good.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah. Hare Krishna, Mother, accept my humble obeisances. Okay, yeah, Mother. According to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, you have 6 kind of aggressors, and according to the Shastra, when such people are killed, you don't have any karmic reactions.
Sorry, who?
So, pardon me?
Who?
He's saying there are 6 aggressors.
Like people who do black arts.
No, 6 aggressors in the Bhagavad Gita.
Sex aggressors. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And Shastra recommend that when you kill such people, you don't have any karmic reactions. So in Africa, or especially in my tradition, you see, you can't battle such people in court, especially talk of land cases. You have to pay huge sum amount of money to battle that in court. So in cases like that, in my tradition, people they don't embark on court issues, but they use this kind of black magic or juju to wipe out such people. So my question here is, will such people also incur any karmic reactions? Because Shastra enjoined that when somebody takes your land from you forcibly, You can kill that person without incurring any karmic reaction. But in this case, you don't have the power to kill the person. In fact, if you have to kill him or her also, you be implicated by the laws of the land, I mean the government. But you have the power in your hand by using juju, which nobody will take you anywhere. So will you also incur any karmic reaction? I don't know if my question is clear.
Yeah, so Anadi Nidanam Prabhu, I just want to say how it's like good karma and bad karma. So if you plant trees, you get good karma, okay? The example, this is an analogy, it's an example. Let's say the principle is, Shastra says, if you plant trees, you get good karma. Okay, that's good karma. And then Shastra says, by killing animals, you incur bad karma. Okay, so one does not mitigate the other. So when you build, you may plant 10,000 trees and you may kill animals. So you may get good karma for planting trees. You also get bad karma for killing animals. And these two karmas needs to be experienced separately. Okay? Like you remember the story of Maharaj Riga in Srimad Bhagavatam. When there was basically a charity that he did, accidentally, without his knowledge, he gave like tens of thousands of cows to a Brahmana. One cow just escaped and went into another group. And then he incurred the sin. So the point is, he got the benefit of giving donation of that, but he also incurred the consequence of one of them going away. So similarly, a person might not get some consequence for only that action, but will get the consequence of making a deal with the dark spirits. Definitely.
So, okay, yeah, I think about that. Thank you very much. I got it clear. But it is said that
So
everything can be...
if you're planning to do juju on somebody, don't.
No, I'm far from
Yeah.
I'm far from but so everything can be used in Krishna consciousness. So at what point can this juju can be employed in devotional service? If you can guide me. Because I learned everything basically can be used in Krishna consciousness, provided that you are guided and you can use it rightly. So at what point can this be used in Krishna consciousness, if you can guide? Because let me, sincerely speaking, not personally, but I have seen or I've experienced this, that after joining devotional service, some people that have known that they have been a movement for so long, but they are still attached to this kind of powers, that even though they are chanting alongside, they have these powers that they would like to exhibit at any point in time. So I would like to know, at what point can this be employed in devotional service, if you can guide. Hare Krishna.
Oh, this principle, it's not that anything can be employed in devotional service. Killing cow can be employed in devotional service. Killing the guru can be employed in devotional service. Killing your wife can be, doesn't make sense. That's not the right logic. There are some things you do not use, and the point that Krishna's service, it's itself very descriptive. It's a very descriptive thing that you do not do certain things. So there is certain, how do you say, even when you take initiation, right? Not that, oh, I can use alcohol in devotional service. I can use meat eating in devotional service. It's nonsense. Nonsense. That is nonsense. You cannot. The point of taking initiation is you vow, you promise to not do certain things. That's what means using it in Krishna's service. Using your body in Krishna's service includes what not to do. So this kind of black arts, everything, it comes under what you should not do. Because you're trading, as I'm saying, you're selling your soul. You're selling your soul to the devil. How can you use that in Krishna consciousness? You cannot. But at the same time, if you are a recipient of such energies, you can use it in Krishna consciousness by surrendering and saying, Krishna, this could not have happened without your permission, because even a blade of grass does not move. If this has happened to me, please help me to get out of this situation. But to go and harm somebody, no, you cannot use that. That is not called using. I mean, it's not called using in bhakti. Bhakti itself has certain don'ts. In fact, when you take initiation, there's only one thing you vow to do. And there are 3 things you vow not to do, right? There is chanting of 16 rounds. That's the only thing you vow to do. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Because from the principle you are saying, all the spiritual masters have said, my dear Anadi Nidanam Prabhu, let us discuss how you can use alcohol in devotional service. Let us use how you can use meat eating in devotional service. No, that's not the way, that's not the actual tantra of Krishna consciousness. So the premises, see, in legal court, the premises is very important. So your premises itself is wrong. You cannot say, you're saying you're mixing the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means, okay, I have a glass on the table. How can I use this in Krishna's service? I have a computer. How do I use that in Krishna's service? Right? Vairagya. But it doesn't mean remember the slide I showed you. This whole concept of juju is control. When I want to take control, I don't want to surrender to Krishna. So it's atheistic at the end of the day. We may call it names. I want to cure myself. Why? So I can keep drinking. So I can keep doing nonsense. I want to control the situation. I want to stay with this person. This person hates me. I don't want to stay, but I want to, through my ego, control this person and stay with this person. I want to bring back this person into my life. Why? Because I want to play God. So this whole concept of the juju thing is going away from Krishna. It's the darkness. In light, we surrender. In darkness, we control. So we should let go and we should let Govinda.
Well, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Man, this answers to the questions. I know there are 2 hands up. This answers to the questions remind me of something very important that His Grace Kamtia taught me. Not just me, but he taught the world, whoever is keen to imbibe or benefit from it, that there are 2 things, prescription and descriptions. So there are many things described in the scriptures, and not all of them are prescribed for us to do. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada said that there are so many prayers in the scriptures, and we have to go through the prayers and select favorable ones and pray such prayers. I don't think I will ever come across hearing a very sincere devotee praying that these are my enemies, pluck their eyes out, like we see from the Narayan Kavacha, for example. So, well, I think Shumara Prabhu has his hand up. Please, you may unmute. And then we'll go to Mother Sunita.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, the answer you gave is very interesting. Not everything we can use in the service of Krishna. However, we have to, when we're in a spiritual warfare, especially here in Africa, where we have to deal a lot with these kind of things, energies. So, now, for instance, somebody is already being attacked by these negative forces, and so they know that the problem is coming from here. Maybe even the person who did it say, yes, I caused you with this. Now, and they say, okay, so if you want relief, you're already suffering, you're already attacked, you want relief. So you go back, you go to that entity or that deity that's been used against you and offer some sacrifice or do something to pacify, then she will release you. Now, unless you have the devotee is strong enough, have a better alternative to that, you are tempted to want to go because you're suffering. And when you go, you become implicated because the aim is to actually bring you under the control of that deity. So they use it to attack you. And then they tell you, if you want solution, you have to go there. Now, if you're in your own practice of devotional service, if you don't have an alternative to that, my God, you're done for.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the question is asking. At what point do you use this kind of thing and say, okay, it's for my devotional service, I want to do it? I've seen practical experiences of this, where people say, we know this is the problem, but then you have to go there. And for me to say, no, I'm not going, is because I think I know what I'm standing on. So this is what I'm asking. This is a very good experience to share here.
Yeah.
So what's your comment on that?
Just because you can, it doesn't mean you should. Okay. So, yes, Krishna is very kind. Patram pushpam palam toyam. He says, even if you offer me water, fruit, flower, I'll accept it. But bhakti is not an excuse to indulge in senses in the name of spirituality. So, in other words, you cannot offer, let's say your boss, okay? You cannot offer him a half-eaten pizza. You eat and say, hey, boss, eat this. Or you cannot offer a broken phone to somebody as a as a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like daily examples, these are. So there are two verses that comes to my mind. One is from Padma Purana. I really like that verse. I think this is the conclusion verse for this conversation. Na shuddhyati vrishala dharmaha. It means that impure activities, they remain impure even if you try to purify them by your intentions. Similarly, there are certain actions, violence, abuse, whatever it is, no matter the excuse, no matter the intent, it will still remain harmful. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see many examples as well. Small things, right? I mean, small in the sense of Parikshit Maharaj, when he threw the death snake around the sage's neck, right? It was an act of, you can't say, oh, how can that be used in Krishna's service? That costed him his life. He had to die in 7 days. There so many examples of whether Indradyumna Maharaj, who was cursed to become an elephant, Vritrasura, who was Chitraketu Maharaj, he laughed and then it wasn't even insult, but he was born as a Rakshasa. So there are many examples that shows that we have to face the consequence. That's what I'm getting at. Impure activities, regardless of the excuse, the justification, the reason, does not discount us from facing the consequence. And one more thing I was thinking, in Ayurveda, when you mix certain things, for example, honey is healing. But if you mix honey, say, for example, with mustard oil or something, it becomes toxic. So there are certain things we do not combine. So that's common human example. Plus, the same person who may say, I will justify to do this. But then if you tell that person, use poverty in God consciousness, remain in pain, and they don't want to do that. So that shows that we are not putting Krishna in the center. I'm putting me in the center because I feel it, because I would enjoy it, doesn't mean Krishna does. So devotion, this is the point. Devotion is not about what we want to give. Devotion is about truly understanding what Krishna wants to receive. And how we'll know what Krishna wants to receive? The Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra.
Hare Krishna. So, lots of these questions are coming because of personal experiences, and some of us are asking questions based on experiences we've had. But Sunita, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Atta, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glory to you,
Oh, that's Govinda.
the prophet.
Okay.
That is not the voice of Sunita.
I thought some black magic happened.
Me too. I thought as much. All right, go ahead, Babuji.
Yeah, this very interesting question by Anadi Prabhu and the answers coming. Very interesting. Mother, I would like you to kindly explain the difference between tantric and black magic. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur tried to expose the yogi who claimed to be God, he used tantric and brought him down. And I believe Krishna has given us all these mantras, the power to do certain things through mantras. So you ask, Anadidan Prabhu asks you, how can these powers be converted into devotional service? So if somebody is trying to cheat you, and legally, if you take that person through the legal process, people are not honest in Kali Yoga, even though you are right, but you turn out to be wrong. But there are other means that the truth can be prevailed. And I believe that's why the tantrics are meant for. And so if they cannot be used, then I don't see why Krishna has given us all these tools. I remember in the back home in Ghana, there's one yogi who came to the temple and tried to cause harm to one of our spiritual leaders. And this leader saw what the yogi was doing. And then he started also chanting his mantras. And the yogi was in trouble. He fell. He fell with a big noise, big sound. He started shouting. And in a second, he ran away from the temple. So what is the difference between this tantric and black magic, please?
Yeah, these questions are very, as you said, based on a lot of real life experiences. Krishna has all the time in the universe. He can wait for us for millions and millions and millions of years. And the whole point of sending us to the material world is because we wanted to enjoy separately from him. So Krishna says, be my guest. You want to keep going up and down? Oh, somebody did black magic to me. I'll do black magic back to them. Okay, Krishna has given all these black arts, which means I should also use it. Okay, use it, but then it's going to only increase more and more the selfish desires, the control, the harm. We're going more and more away from Krishna. So anything with the tamasic intent, if you study Bhagavatam, is dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. It is rejecting even all religions. What to speak of black arts? What to speak of black arts? So the point is, everything under the sun is created by God. But that doesn't mean that there is no suffering by choosing to hurt somebody. There will be consequences. If I'm revengeful, lustful, greedy, it has consequences. So the point is, are you willing to take the responsibility and own it? Can you take the burden of that responsibility? There are animal sacrifices in Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, we saw many of this animal sacrifice, human sacrifice. So there were animal sacrifice and there were human sacrifice. But these people who would do it, like say Vasishta Muni, he had the power to bring that animal back to life. He had the power to bring that human back to life. They had the powers to liberate those souls. Do you have it? That's my question. So the point is the qualification. If you truly have the qualification and you're willing to act according to God's will. So there are two things. God has created poison I'll go and drink it. God has given poison, so I'll go and drink it. Oh, go try, do that. You're not Shiva. You're not going to survive. So similarly, there are poison in this world as well. But that does not mean you go and drink it, right? So similarly, if something leads me to karmic entanglement, see, all these topics, people don't know. Like I spoke about anarthopashamam sakshat, people do not know that these things are superfluous. They don't know that these things will entangle me in karma. As an astrologer, I see people come to me, oh, my husband did this and this, and I can see clearly in their chart, that's exactly what they did in their previous life. Somebody else comes, this happened, they're trying to control, they cannot control the situation. Very clearly the karma is there. They did exactly the same things. So I've seen again and again, if you try to use something against somebody, that will come back. So do you have the spiritual power to tolerate? Or is the path you are choosing, I mean, when I say you, I just mean hypothetical you, okay? I mean, anybody. Me. Do I have the power to align to Krishna's will, or am I going to use my little insignificant power to fall from grace? I mean, you're all born Christians, you all come from Christian background. There's only the very clear difference between poison and nectar. There's very, very black and white difference between poison and nectar. So coming to your question about true tantra, bhakti tradition, when it's spiritually aligned, when it is completely aligned to God's will, that's true tantra. So tantra also literally is about expansion of consciousness. So if I want to expand my revenge, if I want to expand my envy, yes, you can through those dark arts. But what do you get? But if I use tantra from the regulated worship concept of these two verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, mantra, tantra, visharada, using the mantras, using these things in an authorized manner of the scriptures, then I get purified of those envy. And then I stop the cycle. I get liberated from my anger and whatever. And like Amrish Maharaj, you stand there and Sudarshan Chakra chases Durvasa and Amrish is untouched. So the point is, who do you choose to be? What path do you choose? Do you want the path that awakens the soul and serve God? Or do I want the path that leads me to more entanglement and keeps me in the cycle of birth and death? It's that simple. It is that simple. So it doesn't even matter if you're doing Narshinga Yagya, but if you're saying Narshingadev, I'm doing this, give me this. So even when we do prayers for my Guru Maharaj, my spiritual master, Saturdays we do pujas here. We don't go and say, Narshingadev, please make my spiritual master healthy. Don't. We say, dear Lord Narshinga, if you so desire, please restore our spiritual master's health. If you so desire. So that is Krishna consciousness. So the problem with all these other things is control. I want to control. I want to fix my, whatever it is. I want to earn more money. It means that I'm not willing to do the actual alignment with Krishna. The true Tantra is a process or a methodology with which I can align to Krishna. Anything else, it's not is Shrama eva hi kevalam. Yes, Brahma Bhuvanala Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So you keep going up and down, heavenly planets and bottom. What's the other verse? There's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, which says, na dukkha, what's that? तल्लभ्यते दुःखवादन्यथा सुखम कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररंहसा. So the happiness and the distress, they come automatically. Distress comes automatically, isn't it? Isn't it? It's not that we invite, please, misery, come, I'm waiting for you. We don't send an invitation. It comes automatically. Similarly, nalabhyate brahmatam uparyada. So, nalabhyate dukkavad anyata. So, anyatha sukham. So, sukha and dukkha, they are automatically given. So, it says, a person who is kovida means somebody intelligent, will go for something beyond going up, going down, going up to Brahmaloka, coming down to Patala. So what you're saying is the Patala, the arts, and why don't use it? Yes, Patala is also created by Krishna. That's what you want to remain. Krishna says, be my guest. It's all my world. Want to remain in darkness? Hare Krishna. But an intelligent person will say, I want to endeavor for something that doesn't do this, I actually want something beyond. I want something that is transcendental. Gabhira Ramhasa, somewhere where I can actually be situated in pure bliss. So, simple answer, do you want to just survive or do you want to thrive? If you want to just survive, yeah, millions and millions of years, you have the time, Krishna has the time. If you want to thrive, then you may want to do some alignment to a different direction.
Hare Krishna. There is a question in the chat room, if I may take that. This is, yeah. It says, are not curses we read about in the scripture like that on Parikshit and abuse or misuse of spiritual powers of the cursor?
Yes, absolutely. It was the misuse, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
But
again,
it did not curse back. Like exactly what Prabhu is saying is correct. It's not that two harms make it right. Just
yeah.
because something do, I will also do. You have to face the consequence. That's what Prahlad did not do. That's what Parikshit did not do. That's what Ambrish Maharaj did not do. They did not curse back. They did not. They said, ah, tallabhyate, the tallabhyate dukkavad anyatha sukham. No, I don't want this thing. I don't want this game. I want beyond. I'm done, I've done it. By the way, we have done it. Let me tell you, you have done it. We have tried all sorts of magic, all sorts of mystic systems. We have done it. And we're still here, still struggling.
All right, we have two hands up. I'm looking at the time also. What's the name? Anadi Nidanam Prabhu, please, you be on mute.
Yeah, Mother, thank you very much. Actually, we have really fastened our setbacks, so that's why more questions are coming. Okay. So, Mother, I would like you to differentiate between mantra, yantra, and tantra, since all are invocations of words. And also, do I incur any karma by protecting my own self? For instance, right now, if somebody is coming to harm me and I have overpowered the person, do I incur any karma doing that? So it's two kind of question I'm asking.
About the mantra, yantra, and tantra. Mantra, see, we know in Kali Yuga, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalau Nasti, 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 Eva Gatiranyanta. So the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the holy name, is the most powerful. It liberates us, right? Any other thing is not so effective. Why? That's a big question. Because the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, especially because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it was Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare. Lord Chaitanya made it Hare Krishna, to be able to chant it, because we are not even qualified to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But whereas the yantra and the tantra processes, it's very dangerous, and because people are not qualified. People are not qualified to prepare a yantra. For example, when we wear these Narsimha Kavachas, right? Some of you are wearing it. What is this? It's basically the yantra. So inside this, there's the Narshinga Yantra Mandali, and the Brahmanas will chant. In this case, mine is chanted by the Brahmanas telling my name, and they chant certain mantras to activate this yantra. And then they roll it, they put that copper inside the silver thing, and then you have the yantra ready. Yantra is basically equal to deity, basically, because the mandalas, the symbols, the symbolic representations are a reflection of the cosmic, like macrocosm, reflected. So the vibration, the energy is inside the yantra. Okay, the problem of depending on that is Brahmanas are not so qualified these days. And there are process of contamination as well. Yeah, like for example, this one, I need to wash it with milk, with turmeric to keep it active. Okay, because it can get contaminated. So similarly, first of all, to find a qualified Brahmana to do it. Secondly, we should know how to take care of it. And by performing any sinful activities or anything off, the protection goes off. It's like it's because they are persons. This is a person. So why I'm wearing it? I want to be protecting my consciousness for Krishna consciousness. But as soon as I act in unconscious patterns and do things, the personality says, bye, you're going in a different path. But the holy name is not like that. Krishna in the form of holy name is not Nityananda, is Nam Prabhu. He doesn't go away. He's always waiting, like a boyfriend who's always watching the girl, how she walks, and waiting for the attention. So the holy name is waiting. And we are looking here, looking there, going everywhere. And Krishna is like a blue boy waiting there. When they will look at me, when this soul will look at me. So that's the holy name. So, and the same thing with the yagyas or tantra, the procedure, the process of, especially if you're talking about mystical tantram, who is qualified? Who has siddhis? Like my Guruji, he's been chanting since, I don't know, 25, 30 years. You know, he has all this Varahadev, Nrsingadev, Sudarshan. He had to chant millions, millions and millions of mantras. Then he has it in his shield or whatever. Then he has to chant 1,008 times to help one person for one thing. He has to still chant. So these procedures are interconnected because it's all about deities. At the same time, the devotional tantra, there's a difference between Narada Pancharatra, right? That's our path, that's our process. But the beautiful thing is the holy name. And the other question you asked, what was the second question you asked about? What was the second question?
Do I incur any sin by trying to overpower somebody who wanted to harm me?
Yeah. I mean, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, I'm studying that with my Bhaktivedanta, and oh boy, the answer would be yes. Yes. Because any little thing somebody does, they get cursed and they have to become a woman. Big, powerful king, he enters, it becomes a woman. And all he was trying to do was just protect himself. And then there is this rishi, he tries to protect a fish from being captured, and he gets implicated. He was only trying to protect, but he gets implicated. And then, like that, so many things. One king, he becomes so thirsty, he goes to drink water, and then he doesn't realize that that water was actually done with the yagya for the wife to become pregnant, and the king becomes pregnant. So, yeah, ninth canto is full of this stories. Transgender stories, how the man becomes the woman and all kinds of things. The man becomes pregnant, all the stories. And everything has a root with what your question. They were either trying to protect like for example, Harish Chandra. There's a story in 9th canto, a story of Harish Chandra where he doesn't have a child. Finally, the rishis help him. He gets a child, and then he has to give the sacrifice, the child. And he's so attached to Rohita. Rohita is the son of Harishchandra. He doesn't want to. Like sometimes, we take some debt from somebody and we don't want to pay. We'll say next month, next year. So he also says, oh, he's still a baby. He doesn't even have teeth. When the teeth comes, the baby will be ready for sacrifice. And then the teeth comes and he says, no, but he cannot talk. Once he talks, he'll be ready for sacrifice. No, but once he becomes teenager, and then once he should become a kshatriya. So basically he keeps giving reason, giving reason. And he was only trying to protect, right? And then he becomes extremely sick and disease and all that. And long story, the son goes to the forest and Indra doesn't let him come back. Then he buys another son, and then he gives that son in human sacrifice. Then Harishchandra gets cured. So the point is, yes, there's always consequences. And then there are more stories in Bhagavatam where just to protect oneself, he just eats a rabbit. Back then, it was not like sin for Kshatriyas to eat animals. But then Vasishtha becomes so angry. And then the father sends the son to the forest and he gets exiled. And this was like one of the powerful kings who actually came back, ruled the earth and everything. But the point is, he was only trying to survive. But was there consequence? Absolutely. So there is always consequence. There's always. The only thing that does not have consequence is Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. Because that's the holy name. The nature of holy name is to only give mercy and not to implicate us in the bondage of birth and death. So even though the good and the bad is a big problem, right? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Ei bhalo, ei manda, sab manodharma." To think, oh, this is a good way of juju, this is a bad way of juju, everything is bad. This is a good way of me making money, that's a bad way of making money. Everything is bad in this world. Except taking shelter of Krishna, everything is taking us away from him. Anything that takes us away from him is bad.
Well, thank you so much. Shumimara Prabhu, you may unmute.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, so
Marachara, you have something to say, or are you done?
there is a, who quoted this? This is a good one. This divine energy of mine, this is Daivi Yesha Gunamai verse translation in the chat box.
Yeah.
Consisting of three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Well,
Okay.
Hare,
Yes. Oh, sorry. You have somebody speaking?
Hare Krishna, Mother.
Right.
yes.
Yeah, I know we're dwelling on this point for a long time, but you're giving us a lot of milk to drink today, which is amazing. But I would like you to clarify this point. People are, of course, everybody is suffering. That's why we are here. We are here to suffer. And we are suffering because of karma. Sometimes devotees, we act like lawyers, try to defend our clients. The clients that are going through different kind of suffering, we try to help them by doing fire yagas, try to mitigate their problems for the good fortune to come into their lives. People who have all kinds of problems, and there are different sacrifices, rituals that devotees perform, to mitigate the problems of such people, such individuals. So I think this question has been asked before, and the answer came was that, if these things are done and then the results is given to Krishna, then we are karma free because we have given the results to Krishna. But what about if you don't give the results or whatever that will come out from that yagya to Lord Krishna's seva? Then what happened to these devotees who have acted like a lawyers on behalf of these people, the suffering people? I would like you to help me with that.
Mhm.
In otherwise, if a devotee stand in between somebody to beg on his behalf or to free him from his suffering, does that devotee incur any reaction?
It depends on the motivation. If they wanted to do it as a service, then no. But if they were trying to be manipulative to get something personally, then it's a problem. And in general, my Guru Maharaj gave a class and he gave this analogy, and it fits perfectly here. These things are, it's like salt. If you need some certain kind of help because you're so not able to chant, you're super whatever, and you need it, you need enough to get up and go and do your service. But too much of focus on it is also bad. So the sense gratification or self-care or whatever you want to call it is like salt. Without that, there's no taste. But too much of that can be a big problem. So use it like salt. If you're praying for somebody, best is to pray for their Krishna consciousness, to Krishna. It's better to teach somebody how to, they say, that the example is teach somebody how to fish. We don't eat fish, but instead of giving them to feed, you teach them how to earn. So similarly, we teach people, look, because of karma, you're in this situation. So if you work on your intentions and your karma and you do devotional service, you will be free. That's best. But if you're praying for their good health, there is nothing wrong with that. It's Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. A devotee is always praying for the welfare of the world. We are always wishing well for everybody. Amrish Maharaj prayed to Sudarshan Chakra to release Durvasa from the difficulty. He didn't say, yeah, you deserve it. Go, 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 go be attacked. No, he was praying for Amrish. So we pray for the suffering souls, but it should be like salt. Not too much, not too little, just right. Not too tight and not too loose, just right.
Well, thank you so much. I think that's what Krishna himself says also. He says, to become a yogi, you don't have to sleep too much, you don't have to sleep too
Correct.
little, you don't have to eat too much, you don't have to eat too little. Moderation is the key. So, thank you so much for this depth of wisdom, because it is quite practical, because some of us experience these things. And my last question I have for you, I know your time is fast spent, is that there were times that when my Gurudev will visit our zone in West Africa, he would express so much appreciation for lots of us, because he used to say that we have understood that there is no true happiness in material life. We've given it up to pursue spiritual life, because spiritual life is bliss. And most of us are not tasting the bliss. And we're still hanging in there. Even though we want to taste the bliss, we're not tasting it, and we cannot go back to material life. So he appreciated us for that. So my question is, what is the scriptural advice you have for some of us who might think, because some of us are not very serious devotees, and we also do not want to go back to our mess in the material sense. So what do you tell us, or what advice do you have for us if we feel someone is casting some sort of juju on us, black spell on us? What do we do? Now we know that we don't have to try to do anything to like pay back or try to relieve ourselves using the same art. It's still going to give us some sort of entanglement. So what advice do you have for us? What do we do?
ಹರಿ ನಿರ್ಮಲ್ಯವ ಶಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಧರಿಸು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿ ನೈವೇದ್ಯವ ಭುಂಜಿಸುತ್ತಿರು ನಿತ್ಯ ಇಗುಲು ಹರಳುಪ ಹರಿ ಸ್ಮರಣೆಯ ಬಿಡದಿರು ದುರುಳರ ಕೂಡದಿರು ನೀನು ದುರುಳರ ಕೂಡದಿರು. So this verse is speaking about always eat prasadam. Avoid eating anything other than prasadam, because through non-prasadam things also, negative things come to us. So eating prasadam. Always take charanamrita every day. You can even keep a little bottle. Go to the temple, fill it up, keep with you. Take a drop of charanamrita, because by taking charanamrita every day, it removes all these possibilities of ghosts and black magic to attack us. And wear Nashinga Kavacha. And if you see, Guru Maharaj, Jayapatak Maharaj gave a class just a couple of days ago in the temple, and he was saying, right, that the analogy about the salt. Too much sense gratification will deviate us. Too little will cause us so much suffering and disconnection. We cannot do devotional service. So the point is, if you are too much into this, oh Juju, and let me do this and let me get money, it's too much. It's too much. But then also to be so poor and so sick and so incapable and dysfunctional because of all the black magic on you that you cannot function is also not healthy. So the point is, you need to act in a way that it's right. It's Vaishnava. It's, like I said, there are some Vaishnavas who do white magic. If you are somehow a victim of this, there are ways that you can get it removed in a Vaishnava way. Not sending it back to them, not to destroy them, not to employ other evil forces, but to take shelter of Sudarshan. Okay? So there are ways to do that if you are in severe problem. But again, the answer is remain in that moderation zone. Try to do your best to not be attacked. There are some procedures. For example, women, one of the things is you don't leave your hair open, because there are ways that through how ghosts enter. They enter through the when women leave their hair loose, that enters through the for the man from the right side of the forefinger, for the woman from the left. There are many things, procedures. You always keep clean. Every time you go to the toilet, wash your feet, keep yourself clean. There are ways, tilak also is another way to prevent, like, these are the chakras, which are very sensitive areas in the body. And if you cannot wear real tilak for some reason, put water tilak. Do the mantra, Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha. Those mantras protects the body from evil entities to occupy it. Like I said, in general, low level, neutral level, all these things I just mentioned, and serving devotees, you will prevent. But it's high level. Somebody really is you are a politician or somebody, and people are really putting so much juju on you, and you need help, then come to India and go get this yagya done through Brahmana in Melkote or whatever. Okay. Yeah, does that help?
Thank you so much. Very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Dear devotees, we thank you all for your participation as always. And our revered speaker for today, Her Grace, Sri Govinda Devi. I don't see lots of our regular devotees here, but there are still a few here. I had suggested to the devotees to help me apologize to Her Grace, and we honestly thank you for forgiving us, because time is of essence. Everybody has to time and rearrange things. So you were to speak last week, Monday, and something happened. So you are here today. We truly appreciate that. And please apologize again.
Thank you. I'm very forgiving. I don't hold revenge. I will not do juju, so don't worry.
No. I'm not worried about that at all. At least, no. Thank you so much, anyway. Thank you. So, dear devotees, please, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our dearest and deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, Grace Sri Radha Govinda. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mancha Kalpataryascha Devyavacha Patitanam Pavanavya Vaishnavya Namo Namaha.
Grace Sri Radha Govinda Devi Dasi ki Jai. Japachita Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Dr. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Glorious assembly devotees, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much.